We're going to talk about a conditional statement, specifically the if statement in JavaScript, and take a look at how we can use that within our coding. So what is a conditional statement? It is a way to test to see if a condition is true, and if it is, it's going to run some code. If the condition is false, it does not run the code. So here is the syntax for an if statement. We take the word if, and right after it, within parentheses, we put the condition we want to test. And what's going to happen is JavaScript is going to go through that condition, evaluate if it's true. If it's true, it runs code that we put below it. If this condition is false, JavaScript completely skips that code. So here's an example of working with a specific code and a specific event within our form. So the idea is event.target is referencing whatever triggered that particular event to occur, which is the form field itself. We're assigning that to a variable name, and what we're going to do is test the value of that form field. And what the user puts into the form field is known as the value. So basically this says whatever the user put into the field, we're going to test and see if it exactly matches absolutely nothing. Those are two sets of double quotes. So in between we have nothing. That means blank. So think of it as reading, if whatever the user put into that particular form field is blank, then we're going to do something. And what we're going to do is pop up an alert letting them know they did not enter anything in the field. So let's go over to a form and do that. So I'll close out of this form, save the changes, and let's move out here. So we want to test to see if anything was entered into a form field. So let me just use the job title form field here as an example. So we need to get to the JavaScript piece. And I'm going to go over to the actions. It will be not mouse up. I want it on blur. In other words, as the user leaves the field, I'm going to test this. So I'll add it on blur. And here's my JavaScript. So let's write out that code we just looked at. So var user info equals event.target. So that's creating the variable called user info. Now we're going to test our condition. And what we're going to do is test to see if user info.value, so user info.value exactly matches. The single equal sign is an assignment operator, taking the value on the right and putting it into the value on the left, or the variable usually. And what the double equal sign does, it's a comparison operator. It's going to compare two different things, and the two different things are the value the user put into the form field is right here, and this represents no value, completely blank form field. And if that's the case, we're going to pop up an alert, app.alert. And within the alert, we're going to say, you did not enter anything. And we do need double quotes within this area since we're not using a variable. So we'll click OK. This is on blur. So the idea is I have to enter the form field and exit it in order to trigger this. So I'll go over to the hand. I will enter the form field and I will tab out, and notice my alert popped up. That was left empty, so the condition evaluated to true, which triggered the alert. Now this one is for the next form field. So I'll ignore that second alert. Now what I want to do is let's add something. So whenever you're testing a conditional, make sure you check it in every way imaginable. So job title will be, let's say, accountant. There we go. When I tab out, notice I just get the company department. So I'm skipping the alert if there's content inside there. Now, I'm not testing for how much content. So I could literally just put a single letter in there and it will still pass validation. And I have this in here so you definitely know that you've moved out of the field. So I'm going to leave this in here just to help us out. So that is an if statement or a conditional statement testing to see if this was blank. Now we're going to adjust it just slightly. I'll adjust my JavaScript. So I only have something happening if it's true. What I'm going to do next is set up something if it's false. And I can simply copy the alert from up above, paste it down here, and just put in a new message. So the else gives you a second option. So if this is true, then the next line of code runs. If this is false, the else piece is going to run. You entered something, I'm going to say. You entered something. There we go. Now let's test this one out. Now the concept is the same, and let me move back to the hand. I'll eliminate my content here. So I'm in the field, which is focus. I tab out is blur. Notice it says you didn't enter anything. Now I also need to test to confirm when I enter something that it's okay. So I'll type out manager, hit tab, and now I see the you entered something. So that is referred to as a conditional statement, but it's specifically an if-else statement. So let's take a look at that one last time. And here is my if. You always place the condition. It's always evaluating to true. If it's true, whatever the next lines are of code, it will run. And you can put as many lines in here as you want. If this is false and we have an else, the else will run. So that is an if statement and an if-else statement. They are conditional statements in JavaScript, and that is how you code for them.